Hey everyone, thanks for stopping by. This is I'm on a quest to find a truly scary game because I'm not bragging, but I don't get scared that easily or hardly at all. Um, and so yeah, I just found this game on Steam, and I thought I'd give it a try. So let's do it. We got the DLC. I'm not gonna mess with any of these options because I want to, have authentic start. Maybe later, if there's an option, I can do like scarier. Well, let's see. Audio. Autoplay? No. That's fine. It's just normal. Alright. Dagon is a faithful interactive adaptation of H.P. Lovecraft's work, focused on story and atmosphere. You will not find difficult choices, action sequences, or inventory management here, and movement is limited to progression through locations along with plot. So it's like a clicker. One of those games.
I am writing this under an appreciable mental strain, since by tonight I shall be no more.
During the game, you will encounter interactive elements. Some of them will allow you to continue your journey. Others reveal interesting facts about the original short story, its historical background, and the author. Some of the trivia is hidden. In order to find these secrets, focus your eyes and look for the Elder sign. Okay, so focus is right click. Okay. So there's something there.
Penniless, and at the end of my supply of the drug which alone makes life endurable, I can bear the torture no longer, and shall cast myself from this garret window into the squalid street below.
Holy crap, I don't want to do that. Not at all, I mean, not yet, I just started. Alright, so I guess there's more.
Do not think from my slavery to morphine that I am a weakling or a degenerate. When you have read these hastily scrawled pages, you may guess, though never fully realize, why it is that I must have forgetfulness or death.
I know that feeling. Sometimes I wish I'd just go to sleep and not wake up, just because of my mental issues. I'm disabled. I got horrible depression, anxiety, things like that, but nothing like this.
It was in one of the most open and least frequented parts of the broad Pacific that the packet of which I was supercargo fell a victim to the German sea raider.
Oh. Cool ship. Uh-oh. What the hell was that?
The Great War was then at its very beginning, and the ocean forces of the Hun had not completely sunk to their later degradation.
Huh. I don't know what kind of flag that is. I know some flags, but don't know that. Okay.
So that our vessel was made a legitimate prize, whilst we of her crew were treated with all the fairness and consideration due us as naval prisoners.
What is that? Kind of satellite dish? Pretty sky. Good looking sky. Look at it.
So liberal, indeed, was the discipline of our captors, that 5 days after we were taken, I managed to escape alone in a small boat with water and provisions for a good length of time.
It's a big boat, but I guess that's how big they were back then. The little lantern. I can't pick anything up, but alright, let's see what happens next. Oh, maybe I can pick things up.
When I finally found myself adrift and free, I had but little idea of my surroundings.
Oh, cool. Ship's gone, so we managed to escape in the middle of the night. Let's see.
Never a competent navigator, I could only guess vaguely by the sun and stars that I was somewhat south of the equator.
I didn't see any sun or nothing over there. Okay.
Of the longitude, I knew nothing, and no island or coastline was in sight.
That must be horrible. Like being out there, not knowing which way to go, or I don't know if there's oars, but yeah, there's oars. Yeah. All right. Let's see how we get out of this. Oh. Is that the moon?
The weather kept fair, and for uncounted days I drifted aimlessly beneath the scorching sun, waiting either for some passing ship or to be cast on the shores of some habitable land.
I wonder what's in that bag. I know that's probably water. There. And it's a lantern, of course. Alright, let's see what we got next.
But neither ship nor land appeared, and I began to despair in my solitude upon the heaving vastness of unbroken blue. The change happened whilst I slept.
What change?
Its details I shall never know. For my slumber, though troubled and dream-infested, was continuous.
Oh yeah, nice, nice. It's like we're in space. Like, because I guess these are like cosmic horrors. From what I know of H.P. Lovecraft. They're older than time and things like that. This looks like a squid, but let's see what.
When at last I awoke, it was to discover myself half sucked into a slimy expanse of hellish black mire, which extended about me in monotonous undulations as far as I could see.
That's horrible.
And in which my boat lay grounded some distance away.
Oh. So we're kind of near land, and we fell out of the boat somehow, and now we're in the water with this monster thing.
Though one might well imagine that my first sensation would be of wonder at so prodigious and unexpected a transformation of scenery, I was in reality more horrified than astonished.
Yeah, no shit, huh?
For there was in the air, and in the rotting soil, a sinister quality which chilled me to the very core. The region was putrid with the carcasses of decaying fish, and of other, less describable things which I saw protruding from the nasty mud of the unending plain.
Oh, we're in yeah. I thought this was the ocean, like the waves. I didn't see that, and I didn't see the oars. So I guess we got sucked on shore by these things, or those things got sucked on with us. I'm not sure.
Perhaps I should not hope to convey in mere words the unutterable hideousness that can dwell in absolute silence and barren immensity.
Barren immensity. That's a thought-provoking phrase.
There was nothing within hearing and nothing in sight save a vast reach of black slime, Yet the very completeness of the stillness and the homogeneity of the landscape oppressed me with a nauseating fear.
Nauseating fear. I got anxiety and I don't know that feeling. So terrified of something that you just get nauseous.
The sun was blazing down from a sky which seemed to me almost black in its cloudless cruelty, as though reflecting the inky marsh beneath my feet. As I crawled into the stranded boat, I realized that only one theory could explain my position.
Holy crap, what's that? That's giant, humongous, and that's a... I don't know what that is. Imagine being here, not knowing anything. So we crawled into the boat, seems like, for cover or shelter. Let's see what happens to our buddy guy next.
Through some unprecedented volcanic upheaval, a portion of the ocean floor must have been thrown to the surface, exposing regions for which innumerable millions of years had lain hidden under unfathomable watery depths.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Oh, giant fish. I'm seeing stuff every time I look.
So great was the extent of the new land which had risen beneath me that I could not detect the faintest noise of the surging ocean, straining my ears as I might.
Creepy. And that thing over there is like really, really unsettling.
Nor were there any seafowl to prey upon the dead things. For several hours I sat thinking or brooding in the boat, which lay upon its side and afforded a slight shade as the sun moved across the heavens.
I don't see any sun, but it's up there somewhere, I assume, I guess.
As the day progressed, the ground lost some of its stickiness and seemed likely to dry sufficiently for traveling purposes in a short time. That night I slept but little, and the next day I made for myself a pack containing food and water, preparatory to an overland journey in search of the vanished sea and possible rescue.
Big old moon.
On the third morning, I found the soil dry enough to walk upon with ease.
Why is this thing so close to us? I don't like that.
The odor of the fish was maddening, but I was too much concerned with graver things to mind so slight an evil, and set out boldly for an unknown goal.
Guess we're going towards the sun.
All day I forged steadily westward, guided by a faraway hummock which rose higher than any other elevation on the rolling desert.
I guess that's the hummock over there. And, yeah, I mean, this is creepy, but I was hoping it would be, but it's pretty cool still. Oh, by the way, if you guys have any suggestions about games or anything videos for me to react to, see if you guys can scare me, which probably can't. But yeah, so subscribe and like this video and post in the comments any videos that you or games that you suggest. Let's get back to the story. I guess we keep going. Wait, let's look around first. Same old stuff. That's a big ass. Looks like a kind of like a claw. I mean, crab claw. Deformed crab claw.
That night, I encamped, and on the following day still travelled toward the hummock, though that object seemed scarcely nearer than when I had first espied it.
I mean, it seems like we're in some kind of hell, or because you've been walking all day. It's still all muddy and animals all over, and that thing's not getting any closer. So.
By the fourth evening, I attained the base of the mound, which turned out to be much higher than it had appeared from a distance.
Yeah, it's pretty hot. Oh, what's that? See that? Is that like just a reflection? I hope.
An intervening valley setting it out in...
Oops, I hit the button. A sharper relief from the general surface.
Too weary to ascend, I slept in the shadow of the hill. I know not why my dreams were so wild that night. But ere the waning and fantastically gibbous moon had risen far above the eastern plain.
I wonder what gibbous means. I kind of have an idea, but I'm not sure.
I was awake in a cold perspiration, determined to sleep no more.
Sleep no more.
Such visions as I had experienced were too much for me to endure again. And in the glow of the moon I saw how unwise I had been to travel by day.
Why? Probably because of the sun?
Without the glare of the parching sun, my journey would have cost me less energy.
Yeah, okay. Oh, going up the mound.
Indeed, I now felt quite able to perform the ascent which had deterred me at sunset. Picking up my pack, I started for the crest of the eminence.
Eminence. Okay.
I have said that the unbroken monotony of the rolling plain was a source of vague horror to me. But I think my horror was greater when I gained the summit of the mound and looked down the other side into an immeasurable pit or canyon, whose black recesses the moon had not yet soared high enough to illumine.
Wow. That's kind of what I imagine if there was a hell, it would probably look like. Or
I felt myself on the edge of the world, peering over the rim into a fathomless chaos of eternal night.
I wish I could move closer to look over the edge.
Through my terror ran curious reminiscences of Paradise Lost,
That's a book, if you guys don't know.
and of Satan's hideous climb through the unfashioned realms of darkness. As the moon climbed higher in the sky, I began to see that the slopes of the valley were not quite so perpendicular as I had imagined.
Interesting.
Ledges and outcroppings of rock afforded fairly easy footholds for a descent,
That was cool. I was hoping they'd go over the edge.
whilst after a drop of only a few hundred feet, the declivity became very gradual.
Declivity. I think declivity means like the decline, like slope. I could be wrong.
Urged on by an impulse which I cannot definitely analyze, I scrambled with difficulty down the rocks and stood on the gentler slope beneath.
What the hell is that? You see that? Like a giant, looks like a skyscraper, but out of rock.
Gazing into the Stygian deeps, where no light had yet penetrated. All at once, my attention was captured by a vast and
Yeah.
singular object on the opposite slope, which rose steeply about 100 yards ahead of me.
Kind of reminds me of 2001 Space Odyssey, the slab thing, that monolith.
An object that gleamed whitely in the newly bestowed rays of the ascending moon. That it was merely a gigantic piece of stone, I soon assured myself.
It's carved. Somebody carved that. I wonder who and how long ago. How many millions of years ago? Or yesterday, who knows?
But I was conscious of a distinct impression that its contour and position were not altogether the work of nature. A closer scrutiny filled me with sensations I cannot express. For despite its enormous magnitude, and its position in an abyss which had yawned at the bottom of the sea since the world was young.
Yeah, so it's old, whatever it is. I'm guessing.
I perceived beyond a doubt that the strange object was a well-shaped monolith.
Well, that's what it is. It's a monolith. You know, no other way to explain or describe it, I don't think.
Whose massive bulk had known the workmanship and perhaps the worship of living and thinking creatures.
Okay, what's that? What the hell is that? Something over there. It's probably a rock. In the sky, stars. Alright, let's keep our eyes on this monolith.
Dazed and frightened, yet not without a certain thrill of the scientist's or archaeologist's delight, I examined my surroundings more closely. The moon, now near the zenith, shone weirdly and vividly above the towering steeps that hemmed in the chasm.
Oh wow, it's got little symbols on it. See that? Those are like... Yeah, wow. It's like constellations above the ocean. And then things below the ocean. Looks like. And the moon. Okay. I think this is pretty cool.
And revealed the fact that a far-flung body of water flowed at the bottom, winding out of sight in both directions and almost lapping my feet as I stood on the slope.
Talking about this, the water, but where are we? But I want to know. And what are those symbols? The bottom ones, those three down the bottom, or four down the bottom, look like skulls. Those are like whales down below. And then like mermaids. And then constellations. Turtle. Seashell. Huh. I could be totally wrong though.
Across the chasm, the wavelets washed the base of the cyclopean monolith, on whose surface I could now trace both inscriptions and crude sculptures.
I wonder what's in the in the square. Can't see it too well.
The writing was in a system of hieroglyphics unknown to me and unlike anything I'd ever seen in books.
Yeah, that in the middle there, that squid-like face, I think that's supposed to be Cthulhu. Or a representation of him anyways. And then seashells and crabs, turtles, sharks. Okay.
Consisting for the most part of conventionalized aquatic symbols such as fishes, eels, octopi, crustaceans, mollusks, whales, and the like. Several characters obviously represented marine things which are unknown to the modern world.
That is so weird. That one in the middle there is like horrifying. Not horrifying, but yeah, it's kind of weird.
But whose decomposing forms I had observed on the ocean-risen plain. It was the pictorial carving, however, that did most to hold me spellbound.
Oh, alright. The tree branch? I don't know if I want to click that or this. Dagon contains many themes and storytelling methods that Lovecraft developed in his later works, such as telling the story through carvings, journals and characters, notes, islands emerging from the ocean, or fictional beings, and deities based on real events and mythologies. It's also considered the origin of the popular Cthulhu Mythos. Some of Lovecraft's other stories also conclude in a manner similar to Dagon, but let's skip the details in order not to spoil the ending. Okay, sounds like a great idea. Yeah, let's go. Okay. You can read the discovered trivia immediately or go back to them later in the main menu. Turn off displaying trivia if you find it a featured distraction from the story. Okay, this can be changed any time in the options. I think I'm gonna keep it on because I don't want to go back later, but that's fine.
Plainly visible across the intervening water on account of their enormous size were an array of bas-reliefs whose subjects would have excited the envy of a doré.
What's a doré? Doré.
I think that these things were supposed to depict men, at least a certain sort of men. Though the creatures were shown disporting like fishes in the waters of some marine grotto.
It's like they're worshipping the monolith.
Or paying homage at some monolithic shrine, which appeared to be under the waves as well.
Yeah. Supposedly, if you don't know this, and I'm no expert, but Cthulhu is supposedly at the bottom of the ocean and just sleeping, you know? And then he's gonna awaken one day and you know, cause havoc, mayhem and everything. But yeah, like I said, I'm no expert. So let's continue.
Of their faces and forms I dare not speak in detail, for the mere remembrance makes me grow faint. Grotesque beyond the imagination of a Poe or a Bulwer.
I think he means Edgar Allan Poe, and Bulwer maybe is another writer. I don't know.
They were damnably human in general outline, despite webbed hands and feet, shockingly wide and flabby lips.
Yeah, that's, I wouldn't want to run across any of them.
Glassy, bulging eyes, and other features less pleasant to recall. Curiously enough, they seem to have been chiseled badly out of proportion with their scenic background. For one of the creatures was shown in the act of killing a whale, represented as but little larger than himself.
Oh, yeah, look at that. It's giant. If that's a blue whale, they're like hundreds of feet long, or, you know, maybe not hundreds, but they're huge.
I remarked, as I say, their grotesqueness and strange size, but in a moment decided that they were merely the imaginary gods of some primitive fishing or seafaring tribe. Some tribe whose last descendant had perished eras before the first ancestor of the Piltdown or Neanderthal man was born. awestruck at this unexpected glimpse into a past beyond the conception of the most daring anthropologist. I stood musing whilst the moon cast queer reflections on the silent channel before me. Then, suddenly, I saw it.
What? What'd you see? Oh, right there? There's something in the water. Yeah, it's like rippling in a circular shape.
With only a slight churning to mark its rise to the surface, the thing slid into view above the dark waters.
Yeah, that's... Uh-oh. Wonder what it's gonna be.
Fiend-like and loathsome, it darted like a stupendous monster of nightmares to the monolith.
Wow, that's huge. I mean, I don't know how big the monolith is, but...
About which it flung its gigantic scaly arms, the while it bowed its hideous head and gave vent to certain measured sounds.
Wow.
I think I went mad then.
I don't blame you, buddy.
Of my frantic ascent of the sloping cliff, and of my delirious journey back to the stranded boat, I remember little.
Why are we sideways? I feel like... Or,
I believe I sang a great deal, and laughed oddly when I was unable to sing.
that is super creepy. Imagine if that's like just one finger. You know,
sometime after I reached the boat.
Washing away the mud and the gunk.
At any rate, I know that I heard pearls of thunder and other tones which nature utters only in her wildest moods. When I came out of the shadows, I was in a San Francisco hospital.
Huh. Weird.
Brought thither by the captain of the American ship which had picked up my boat in mid-ocean.
But what is that hanging out of the ceiling? Is that... It's like tendrils. Something. Is he really in the hospital?
In my delirium, I had said much, but found that my words had been given scant attention.
I got no legs. No body. Yeah, I mean, it could be... I don't know what these are, though. Those right there. Those look like, I don't know what they look like. Look like electric wires, but strange looking electric wires.
Of any land upheaval in the Pacific, my rescuers knew nothing. Nor did I deem it necessary to insist upon a thing which I knew they could not believe.
Yeah, who's gonna believe that? I mean, they'll just think you went crazy.
Once I sought out a celebrated ethnologist and amused him with peculiar questions regarding the ancient Philistine legend of Dagon, the fish god.
Cool. I'm gonna have to look that up. Dagon. And the nice little office you got there. Statues. Get in a nice chair, leather chair, with all these documents. What's that saying? I can remember a time when time itself ended. Second hand of a clock ticking in slow motion. Your hand barely moving at all. dull rhythm, monotony, filling an empty void of nothingness. Dagon, or Dagon, was the main deity of the Philistines, worshipped throughout the Middle East as the ancient god of fertility and crops. In Hebrew, the word Dagon was a common noun for grain. The rulers of Akkad, or Mesopotamia today, or not today, chose him as the patron saint of their war conquests. He also appeared as the judge of the dead in an Assyrian poem and an underworld prison warder in one of the Babylonian texts. He is often mistakenly taken for a fish god due to the wrong interpretation of his name, as in Hebrew the word dag means fish. In H.P. Lovecraft's work, Dagon is an underwater deity ruling over the deep ones. A humanoid race with fish traits that resides in the oceans. He is worshipped by a secret cult called Esoteric Order of Dagon. I wonder if they still worship him. Oh, okay. What is that? That's like a shelf cabinet.
But soon perceiving that he was hopelessly conventional, I did not press my inquiries.
Necronomicon. August Derleth and the Cthulhu Mythos. August Derleth was an American writer and anthropologist. He also befriended Lovecraft and published many of his works through his company Arkham House. Although he greatly contributed to the popularization of the author's works after his death, he is surrounded by numerous controversies. One of the most questionable decisions involved introducing the good versus evil doctrine. Derleth was a devout Catholic to the Cthulhu Mythos, which contrasted with Lovecraft's view of the world and his approach to cosmic horror. As a result, the author's works are often misunderstood and misinterpreted in today's culture. It is also worth noting that Lovecraft was never really interested in creating a mythology, and the term Cthulhu Mythos was coined by Derleth after the author left the mortal plane. Derleth sounds like an asshole. Grandfather clock. Why'd we walk over to the clock? There's no dialogue. I guess, is there something here to see? It's almost 10 past 10. I guess that's it, right? Yep.
It is at night, especially when the moon is gibbous and waning, that I see the thing.
That's horrible wallpaper. I mean, I guess, I don't know. I don't know why.
I tried morphine, but the drug has given only transient surcease and has drawn me into its clutches as a hopeless slave. So now I am to end it all, having written a full account for the information or the contemptuous amusement of my fellow men. Often, I ask myself if it could not all have been a pure phantasm. A mere freak of fever as I lay sun-stricken and raving in the open boat after my escape from the German man of war. This I ask myself, but ever does there come before me a hideously vivid vision in reply. I cannot think of the deep sea without shuddering at the nameless things that may at this very moment be crawling and floundering on its slimy bed, worshipping their ancient stone idols and carving their own detestable likenesses on submarine obelisks of water-soaked granite.
Yeah, that just happened. What the hell that was?
I dream of a day when they may rise above the billows to drag down into their reeking talons the remnants of puny, war-exhausted mankind. Of a day when the land shall sink and the dark ocean shall ascend amidst universal pandemonium.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Naturally swaying, or no, that's like a vision, like blurry vision.
The end is near.
Oh, he's got something blocking the door. Where's it? I think it's coming from that door. Somebody trying to yell at. Yeah, the door's moving. Door's shuttering.
I hear a noise at the door, as of some immense slippery body lumbering against it.
What do you think? You think it's just insane? I don't know.
It shall not find me. God, that hand! The window! The window!
What window? I can't turn to the window. What's that floating outside? Okay. That was weird. We hope you enjoyed immersive storytelling, immersing yourself in our little pool of cosmic horror. We would appreciate it if you took a moment to rate Dagon and check out our other games and DLCs. Cthulhu's bedtime stories. Well, I don't know. I mean, that was interesting. Anything else? But yeah, okay. So thanks for watching. And again, if you guys are interested in more of this kind of thing, or if you have something you think might scare me, please leave a comment and let me know. I'd be happy to hear what you guys might have in mind. Until then, I'll see you next time. Thanks.
And scary stories have been accompanying men for centuries. They have many faces and forms, but what is their purpose? Why do we enjoy being afraid so much? During our therapy, I'll try to